4 years and 1 month ago, I, Abraham Lincoln, became the 16th and first Republican President of the United States. Though the states weren't very united. The issue of the states' rights has caused quite a division in our country due to some states holding tightly to slavery, unwilling to recognize that all men are created equal.
Greetings. I am the most infamous John Wilkes Booth, and I believe that 4 years and 42 days ago, this nation began its devastating fall. It all started with the election of that wretched scoundrel Abraham Lincoln, who decided to give former slaves voting rights.
Now you see, our country has been in the midst of a great and terrible civil war. And finally, after 4 years, it is over. The war brought tremendous stress to me, so my dear wife convinced me to go to Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. to see a comedy performance. After many years of war and loss of lives, this is a welcome relief.
As I was picking up my mail from Ford's Theater earlier this morning, I overheard a conversation. By that, I mean I'm very good at eavesdropping. I heard that Abraham Lincoln himself was taking a little bit of time to relax that evening. I, determined to make my cause known, went home very quickly, you see, to get something of very great importance.
As my wife and I arrived at the theater, I could still feel the weight of change that lay before Assassination. However, I escorted my wife to our seats in the presidential box, determined to enjoy our time together. It was a very lavish theater, and the play was just about to commence.
I rushed home very quickly, you see, to grab my favorite sidearm. But later that evening, when I returned to the theater, I arrived rather late. But what is late to an assassin? An assassin arrives precisely when he intends to.
The play was becoming more and more exceptional. With my wife by my side and the war over, I felt as a president should rightly feel, grateful and relieved.
As I mounted the stairs 10 minutes after the performance started, people greeted me with warm smiles. But after all, I am the most infamous John Wilkes Booth. I crept up the stairs, and I entered the presidential box.
Hearing a creak on the stairs, I didn't think much of it. After all, the play was entertaining enough I need not think of anything else.
I silently pulled the curtains of the chamber back to reveal President Abraham Lincoln, the man who had ruined this country forever. Over the course of the next few minutes, I positioned myself directly behind Mr. Lincoln. I pulled my lightweight, single-shot pistol from its leather holster, and I knew I was ready.
The crowd burst into laughter, and for the first time in 4 years, I felt lighthearted and joyful. But little did I know my happiness wouldn't last long.
My whole life, I've been preparing for this moment. As a patriot, I desire to serve my country well. I pulled the trigger silently. I shot. A small bullet erupted from the end of the barrel and traveled 3 inches and into the back of Mr. Lincoln's head.
Pain, like the striking of a sledgehammer, hit my head. In that moment, my whole life flashed before my eyes. I then fell forward and collapsed.
Now, my life purpose has been fulfilled. I, the most infamous John Wilkes Booth, had just become the patriot the nation had always needed. I remember growing up in Bel Air, Maryland, always striving to be great, and it finally happened. I remember my stay at St. Timothy's Hall, and as well as my dropout. All my hard work had paid off for the better.
I remembered my father and mother, the Gettysburg Address of 1863, and the great historic election of 1860. So many thoughts came to my mind. All I wanted to do was serve my country rightly and take us back on the path towards freedom for all. Then blackness overtook my vision and unconsciousness overcame me.
The next thing I did was all instinct. I jumped from the balcony onto the stage, breaking my leg in the fall. Upon getting up, I yelled, "Stick, semper, tyrannis!" And I managed to run. I ran from everything, even my glory of saving the nation.